It is March the 20th. We're going to start tonight with our project hearing, but before we do that, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I don't believe we have any media here tonight, is that correct? Okay. All right, the next item on the agenda is for the board to hold a project hearing on the proposed construction project. If you are interested in speaking at this hearing, please make sure you have signed the sign-in sheet, which should include your name and address. After a presentation by the administration and its advisors, there will be an opportunity for the public to make comments about this project. At the hearing, we will ask that each person limit their comments to 3 minutes and that the topic be limited to the proposed project under consideration. The notice of this project hearing was published as legally required, and at this time I will ask that Superintendent Tim Pavarnik explain the purpose of this hearing.
Thank you. Pursuant to Indiana Code 20-26-7-37, before a school corporation may spend more than $1 million to build, repair, or alter a school building that will be financed by lease or bonds, it must hold a public hearing at which explanations of the potential value of the project to the school corporation and community are given. This public hearing and consideration of resolutions are the very beginning of the legal process. Resolutions presented today establish the maximum financial terms for the proposed project.
We will now hear from Mr. Pavarnik about the process of determining and communicating the project to the community and the need for the project.
The project we're talking about in this particular instance is the D wing at the junior senior high school renovation, and in addition off the D wing, which would encompass part of the C wing and the entrance, to move our 6th graders there and have a 6th, 7th, and 8th grade separate middle school in that building area for our students. The need for a project arises in that we have our elementary schools are bursting at the seams. They were not really designed to have a 6th grade classroom in them, and it's best for the 6th grade anyway to be in a middle school setting, and it's neat to have our middle school separate from the high school, and so that's what this project stems from.
We will now hear from Mr. Pavarnik about how the proposed project meets the needs as just described.
The area, the D-wing area now is in dire need of renovation, and we already have that space sitting there with that space being renovated and with adding on addition toward the C-wing area. It's the most cost-effective way for us to utilize that space and turn it into a self-contained middle school environment.
We will now hear from Lynn Leininger, our business manager, about how the proposed project will be financed, as well as information about the effect on the typical property taxpayer.
The school board, in their March 8th work session, met with Mike Thurber from the Thurber and Brock attorney firm. Mike is our municipal financial advisor for this lease rental project. The project is still in design phase, but the construction remodeling, including the complete finishing and furnishing of the classrooms, is estimated to be completed for the $6.1 million lease rental cost. Payback was estimated to be over 20 years with no per annual payment to exceed $1.2 million per year. This is just a high annual estimate. In fact, all but 1 year of the lease rental, the annual payments are estimated to be $500,000 or less per year. The initial construction is to begin this summer with the existing D-wing, and that along with the new construction estimated to be completed by the summer of 2025. The annual lease rate rental payments will begin in 2024. With the current assessed value, Whitko is able to complete this project while holding the overall tax rate constant throughout the entire payback.
We will now open the public hearing. Remember, if you would like to speak, please sign in on the sheet which is located on the center console. As I mentioned earlier, we ask that you state your name and address, limit your comments to the proposed project and financing, keep any comments to 3 minutes, and avoid being repetitive if possible. Has anyone signed in? Does anyone want to speak? Any comments? Okay. Please note that this is just the first step in the legal process. The board will continue to work with the administration and its professionals to look for efficiencies to conserve tax dollars while meeting our educational needs. Mr. Pavarnik, could you please summarize the project resolution?
Project resolution is required when the school is planning to spend more than $1 million per building. It contains the estimated hard and soft construction costs and cost of issuance, and establishes the total project cost. It also contains the estimated tax impact.
Could I have a motion and a second to adopt the project resolution?
I move we adopt the project resolution.
I second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt the project resolution. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your right hand. Aye. Those opposed? The motion passes. Mr. Pavarnik, could you please summarize the resolution determining the need for the project?
The next resolution is a resolution determining need for the project relating to the financing of a construction project. This resolution establishes the need for a project pursuant to Indiana code.
Could I have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution determining need for the project?
Make a motion that we accept the resolution determining the need for the project.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt the resolution determining the need for the project. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your hand. Aye. And those opposed? The motion passes. Mr. Pavarnik, would you please summarize the resolution approving the form of lease agreement?
This resolution provides the preliminary terms of the lease agreement. Next month, we will conduct a hearing for the approval and execution of the lease agreement.
Could I have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution approving form of lease agreement?
I make a motion that we approve the form of lease agreement.
I second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt the resolution approving form of lease agreement. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your hand. Aye. And those opposed? Motion passes. Mr. Pavarnik, would you please summarize the resolution reapproving the building corporation?
This resolution approves the building corporation for federal tax purposes.
Can I have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution reapproving formation of building corporation?
I make a motion that we adopt the resolution reapproving formation of building corporation.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt the resolution for reapproving the formation of the building corporation. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
And those opposed? The motion passes. Mr. Pavarnik, could you please summarize the reimbursement resolution?
The next resolution is a reimbursement resolution relating to the financing of a construction project. This resolution permits the school corporation to reimburse itself from bond proceeds from any cash which it might spend on the project prior to the closing on the bonds. It is required by federal tax law in order to preserve the school corporation's ability to reimburse itself.
Could I have a motion and a second to adopt the reimbursement resolution?
I make a motion that we adopt the reimbursement resolution.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adopt the reimbursement resolution. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your hand. Aye. And those opposed? The motion passes. I need a motion to adjourn this portion of the meeting.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adjourn the hearing portion of our meeting. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
This portion of the meeting is adjourned. We will move right into our regular meeting. We will call to order. It is 6:40. And we will start with our students of the month. From South Whitley Elementary School, nominated by Cindy Haddon and Aaron Collier, we have Jacob Tuttle.
So Mrs. Hatton and Miss Collier say that Jacob is a sixth grader who truly demonstrates our motto here at school, which is work hard and treat people right. Jacob is very responsible and always puts forth his best effort to succeed in whatever task he is given. He treats everyone with kindness and respect, and his positive attitude is always appreciated by staff and students alike. Jacob is truly a role model for others by always demonstrating responsibility, kindness, and respect. Way to go, Jacob. Keep up the great work.
Congratulations, Jacob. From Pearson Elementary, nominated by Claire Frame, we have Kaisley Carroll.
Don't worry, I'll get her a prize. I promise I'll get it to her. All right, well, I have the pleasure of speaking on behalf of Mrs. Frame and Kaisley Carroll. She's just a kind, caring, hardworking student. She's always eager to learn and does it with a smile on her face. Kaisley's teachers and fellow classmates appreciate her constant positivity. She excels in making sure everyone feels included. Whether it be on the playground, in the cafeteria, or in the classroom, she's doing her best to make sure that her peers do not feel left out or ignored. Every day, Mr. Lane announces to the school a different way to show kindness, and Kaisley is always doing that and more. It is a privilege to recognize Kaisley Carroll as March Student of the Month.
Congratulations to Kaisley. The Whitko Career Academy Student of the Month, nominated by Mr. Matt Dice, is Cohen Shipper.
I'm Mr. Dice. I nominated Cohen Shipper. Cohen's always in class, always does high level, excellent work. But be honest with you, it's way farther than that. Always seems to be in a good, positive attitude towards me and all that. But when we go a little bit further and we step into outside the classroom a little bit with the FFA is where I've just seen his impact really hit at a high level. And so, kid that's been on multiple national teams, he's rising the ranks, he's very mature for his age. All the other kids in his class look up to him as a leader. Just seeing that as a sophomore level student, just the places that you could go. I've been doing this for a while, and there's several students that are now presidents of banks and so on, CEOs of companies and own their own businesses and stuff like that. And I've noticed that leadership has been there and at a young age, and you're one of the few that have it. So congratulations on the honor here, and you're going to do great things.
Hang on one quick second. For all you that may or may not know, Mr. Dice is leaving us, and I just want to shake your hand, congratulate you, and thank you for the work, all your dedication to Whitko and FFA. But I just want to also talk about our FFA students. They came in last week and wanted to meet with me because they're very involved. And this is a young man led the pack in there and wanted to talk about with me and Mrs. Evans about, and Mr. Benedict, about our needs for our next person coming in and the need for that person to be focused on FFA. And I think that's just a testament to Mr. Dice's program and to what you guys bring as very fine, outstanding young adults to Whitko. So thank you for that.
Congratulations, Cohen. The Whitko Junior High Student of the Month, nominated by Mr. Mike Hanback, is Isabel Harmon.
I nominated Izzy for probably one reason more than anything else. As an adolescent in a classroom, when I ask a question, nobody puts their hand up to answer. Because at that age, it's, oh, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want people looking at me. Izzy is different. She will put her hand up and she'll look at me and say, well, what about this? And I'll say, well, what do you think? And we'll go back and forth. And eventually, she's the kind who, if you had a class of them, it would be wonderful because they're constantly trying their best. They want to know. They want to learn as much as they can. And she's mature enough that she really doesn't care what other people think of her. And I wish we had more junior high students like that.
Thank you, Mr. Hanback. Congratulations to Isabel. Also nominated by Mr. Hanback from the high school, we have John Morgan.
John is in my ICP class, Integrated Chemistry and Physics. And what I appreciate about John is his willingness to work, his willingness to think, and his willingness to draw a picture before he tries to do something. We're studying, just finishing up a unit on projectile motion, and John sat down with a couple of girls who weren't quite sure what they wanted to do, and he talked them through, and as a group, they came up with a catapult that, just to let you know, was throwing a golf ball somewhere in the neighborhood of about 265 feet. And then they would take all the data from their launches, calculate initial launch angle, calculate initial velocity, and then from there we can take and plug it into formulas and do all kinds of things with it. But he was the leader in that group, and he normally pairs up with one of the other guys in the group, but he said this time he just wanted to work with somebody who wasn't quite sure what they were doing. That's John Morgan, and that's why I nominated him.
And congratulations to John. Thank you, Mr. Hanback. I would ask the students of the month would please stay until we finish with headliners. But first, before we do that, we have a special treat from the February 25th ISMA State Solo Trumpet Gold with Distinction winner, Elena Krebs. She scored a perfect score at the ISMA contest, and she is going to give us her rendition tonight of the same piece she did that day, right?
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
Great. Thank you.
Just a real quick note about all of our students. We chose Elena because she had kind of one of the best results that we had. But all of our high school students and a couple of our 8th grade students participated in solo and ensemble. So they got a chance to play either by themselves or in a small ensemble with like instruments. And through this process, this is a requirement for all my students. Through this process, they choose their own repertoire with just a little bit of guidance from me. They rehearse their own repertoire, again, just with a little bit of help from me. But by and large, this is kids that are playing, for the most part, for a lot of them, collegiate level literature, working on it by themselves. They listen to themselves, they practice by themselves, they work together in small groups. I'm here if they need me, but a lot of times they kind of take over and do the work themselves, which gives them a lot more ownership over me kind of shuffling them through. We had, on February 4th, we had our district festival at East Noble. We had 23 gold ratings and 3 silver ratings. 9 of those events qualified for state solo and ensemble. There we had 6 gold ratings and 3 silver ratings. 3 of those gold ratings were with distinction, meaning they placed with an exemplary score, and then Elena had a perfect score on her solo. So we were all pretty shocked about that. So we invited her here, and we're going to play her solo Ode to Trumpet, or Ode for Trumpet, tonight.
Mr. Van Patten, that was amazing. We will go ahead and do headliners now. Just a few things, good news from around our district. Keeping in the spirit of the band, our Whitko Junior High band earned a silver rating last weekend at the ISMA contest. We want to congratulate these young people, and we look forward to listening as they grow and develop their musical talents. We want to congratulate Abby Frank for not only receiving a gold key in the Regional Scholastic Art Contest, she was also one of only 3 recipients of a $500 scholarship. Congratulations also goes out to archer Jillian Starkweather on receiving a $500 scholarship from the National Archery in the Schools program, which is also known as NSAP. And finally, we have Whitko Junior Senior High student Ethan Huber that's sponsoring a fundraiser for the Animal Welfare League of Kosciuszko County. And we invite you all to check the school website, Facebook page rather, to see how you can assist in helping out this worthy cause. Any student of the month, the one to leave, you're more than welcome to do so at this time. We're going to go ahead and move on to 3.0, which is the reports section of our meeting. And we will start with Chris Evans, who is our curriculum and TAP director.
Thank you. Last March I was hacking and coughing, so I'm a lot better now. A couple things to note. As I've reported before, ILT is the instructional leadership team. I have gone and observed a lot of those at the buildings, and every so often I lead one. In the third bullet point, I led what is called a skill wheel. It's something I learned a number of years ago at a conference that helps identify students with what their skills are and how to develop support plans for them. It's not a disciplinary thing. It is looking at what can we do to further promote the support of the teachers based on what their skill is and where we want them to be. And so that is something I've gone through. I've not been able to do it at the Career Academy just because I need the entire team there, and Mrs. Benedict has been out. So that will take place. Next week we are doing the NIET school review. It's where a group of members from NIET come to the school, and with me and others we go to each school. We have a review. The principals already have that information of what they need to present, and it's interviews with staff and students and some parents and things like that. But it looks at what is the quality of implementation of CAP into our schools. So those will take place next Wednesday and Thursday. It's not on yours, but after spring break, I will begin again. I talked earlier about the principal standards rubric. It's a new thing to Whitko from NIET, and it basically has the principals set their goals and what they can state that they will do to achieve those goals. And then my responsibility is to go around periodically and meet with them. And so I've done that before. The second round will be coming up after spring break. A lot of the stuff, just like curriculum was, kind of wedged between testing, so we do not disturb anything going on with testing. The National TAP Conference is later this week. As you can see, on Wednesday the 22nd, a special group of 4 of us were invited to go down a little bit early. We will be going to Perry Township School, the 6th grade academy, and one of the presentations that NIET gives, not only will they do it at Perry, but also at the conferences, they call it, whatever it is, leadership in a bubble. So we all get to be around watching it in action as if it's happening kind of in a bubble. And that way there's a lot of conversation around it, how to be a better leader and how to bring that back to our schools and our corporation. So it is the 3 of our master teachers and myself will be going down there on Tuesday prior to the conference, which is Wednesday and Thursday. It is in Indianapolis this year, so travel is not flights and other things like it has been. Jumping down to curriculum, our committee is back in session again. Because again, we avoided the I-READ test for I-READ 2 and 3. So we are actually meeting tomorrow in the TAP room, and we will be meeting with one of the vendors. And again, remember, we created a rubric of the the skills and the information that we want in a curriculum. We have one vendor that is coming on the 21st tomorrow, and another vendor that is coming or being televised Zoom or Teams on April 11th. And then we have 2 more vendors, and we will be ready to make a recommendation to the board. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Evans.
I have one quick question.
Yes.
The NIEP conference is Thursday and Friday.
Correct.
You said Tuesday.
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
Wednesday. I just want to make sure I'm there on the right days for the conference.
He goes down
We
Tuesday.
don't have any rooms for Tuesday, just so you know. If you go down there Tuesday, leave in your car.
Yeah, I'll camp. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, it is Wednesday the group goes, Thursday, Friday is the conference. Yes, thank you, Mr. Torres.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. From Pearson Elementary, we have Mr. Shannon Lane.
Well, good evening. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to what's going on at Pearson Elementary School. Our instructional leadership team, or ILT, is continuing to identify necessary lessons to support our students and our teachers in the implementation or the learning of syllabication and phonics. So we're still bridging those gaps for our kids, giving them skills so that they can read and access material that they know, we know that they need. So we're continuing to work on that, and we're using the Brain Spring program, which is part of the Orton-Gillingham. It's a branch off of that, and then the phonics program is also a Brain Spring program. We are excited that next Wednesday we get to have our school review with NIET. They're going to come back and give us some feedback and tell us how Pearson is implementing the NIET or TAP process and how we can better implement that and support our teachers and support our students. So we look forward to the feedback. We are introducing the Pride of Pearson Award as our quarterly awards. That stands for persistence, respectfulness, integrity, dependability, and efficiency. So we've kind of been sharing those words as well as those meanings with our students over announcements. And this is the first for our students, so we're really excited to share those and give some Pride of Pearson Awards away to our students on Wednesday. As Mr. Pivarnik said, Pearson and other buildings are continuing to grow. We have added 5 since I put in the board report, so we are up to roughly 420 students at Pearson Elementary. We are excited to have every one of them and help them grow. In addition, we've got Pearson's Got Talent. That's this Friday at 7 p.m. I will not be singing or dancing. You're all welcome. But our kids will, and they're really excited. There's some dance acts, there's some comedy, there's some juggling or something like that. But they all bring their own unique talents, and we're excited to see those. And then next Friday, we have Grandparents' Day. So it's been a few years since we've had to have had the opportunity to do something like that with COVID and restrictions, and we're excited to have our grandparents back in the building and for them to love on their grandkids and see what happens at Pearson. Thank you guys. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. From South Willie Elementary, we have Mr. Joel Halsapple.
Thank you. I put in my board report about our cluster cycle we've been working on, communicating with students, parents, and our colleagues. And I wanted to just let you know that I take it seriously that we are serving our community, and we're trying to get better at, again, communicating with our students, valuing them. Our parents, we just had our parent-teacher conferences. How can we be advocates with them and use what they know about their students to help us grow? And then with our colleagues, we're trying to be more collegial and work together, not just congenial and nice. So that's one thing that we're working on. We have kindergarten roundup coming up March 28th, which, like you've heard, we keep getting students. Our first grade and kindergarten right now are full, and I anticipate that our incoming kindergarten class is going to be large as well. And we don't have a lot of room for them right now. So we have full classrooms, which is a good problem to have for us, right? We are also going to be in the future looking at our next cluster cycle will be on student ownership, where this is our teaching and learning standards rubric. This is the one that I use when I do observations and talk with teachers. But it has the things that we need to be doing in classrooms to making sure that students are growing. And so we're looking at engaging students, and we want to produce a product, and our students are our product that we're producing that are thinkers and problem solvers, and that's very important. Like Mr. Lane also mentioned, we do have our NIUT site review coming up this coming week where we're going to receive feedback and know how we can continue to grow. And we're excited to also partner then in April. We have a family fun night coming up with our PTO, which should bring up community and just allow us to spend some time again with our families, which we are serving. Thank you. Any questions for me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it fair to assume that we could start thinking about adding a third kindergarten to Southwood Elementary for next year?
Yes, because our kindergarten classes are just ginormous. Ginormous kindergarten classes are not a good thing. So absolutely, thank you for that reminder.
Thank you. From Whitko Junior Senior High, we have Mrs. Amy Evans.
Good evening. I would like to use this time to talk about our Jared Day / week next week. If you haven't been able to see what goes on there, I would like to invite you. Each day we have different grade levels that compete against each other. And on Friday they play against staff. So if any of you want to come and help the staff out, that would be great also. I heard there's some kind of kayaking and surfing, so we'll see how that goes. On Thursday we have the auction, which if you haven't ever come and visited, I highly encourage you to do so. I can't really explain what it's like until you're there. But if anybody is also interested in donating a basket or something for the auction, let me know, and I'll get it included. But I would just like to invite you guys to come see why our kids are so special. So,
What time?
the auction will start at 1:30 p.m. in the main gym. The staff versus students on Friday will start approximately 2:25 in the main gym. Any questions?
This is next week.
Next week.
All right. Thank you. From the Whitko Career Academy, we have Mr. Benedict.
Good evening. Career Academy will go through their school review process at the NIT on the 29th. So every school's kind of going through that. The national conference will be attending as well. Big thing coming up on April 20th. We're planning our second annual showcase day. It's where we bring in local businesses, different people throughout the community, education personnel, employers that are wanting to kind of see our kids in action. We do it a little bit different than a career fair day. Typical career fair day, the students walk around, grab a t-shirt, they grab a pen, they grab whatever. They don't really get to talk a whole lot with those businesses. So our first hour is broken up into 2 sessions. Session 1's our kids are actually on machines. They're doing things that they've learned throughout the course, throughout the year. Businesses are there, leaders are there. They're intermixing with our kids, kind of learning about what they're doing in their curriculum, what they're doing on those particular machines, or if it's a medical or if it's education professions, whatever it may be. It's basically people coming in to see our kids in action for the first hour. The second hour then is about those businesses being able to present to our students about what they're looking for in employees. And we kind of hit on that session. Went really, really well last year. It's a little unique and a different approach to kind of getting your kids out there. It was a neat experience last year. We had 3 businesses that came last year and said, we want to interview that kid, that kid, and that kid next week. And we set that up in the Downwood room. They came the following week and interviewed them right there for jobs for the summer, liked what they saw and what they were able to do. So trying to just build those partnerships. That day is coming up on the 20th of April. So mark that on your calendar. It's a neat event for our kids. Medical students, our WCA medical students, having their HOSA State Leadership Conference competition on the 10th through the 12th of April. We will have our Donate Life Flag raising ceremony on the 14th at the Junior Senior High School. All students will participate in that. We'll have a donor family, a donor recipient family, as well as a national speaker come in and talk to our kids about donor organization. Chloe Hathaway will be doing her second blood drive coming up on April 18th. She did one earlier in the fall for her capstone project. That's coming up on the 18th from 3 to 7. And then WCA, our Ag and FFA, we have some competitions that are coming up. April 8th, our regional wildlife. April 15th, they're going to Joliet for livestock. The 22nd, livestock judging, and the 22nd, state forestry and landscaping, and those particular contests going on. Any questions?
What was the date on the donor, the flag?
The 14th of April, Friday.
It's a lot going on.
It is. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Athletic Director Barry Singray.
Good evening. Thanks for having me here to discuss athletic updates. Starting with facilities, we have new sound systems currently being installed in our baseball and softball facilities. Our basketball and football sound systems are also currently under professional review, so that way we can start strategically planning how to replace those items. Also with facilities, a streaming system is scheduled to be installed on March 28th. That will allow us to stream volleyball, football, and basketball, volleyball, and wrestling next year. So we're excited about that. We'll begin using that next fall, and if it's successful, we'll look into adding those streaming devices to other facilities. I really want to thank the tech department. They really helped me navigate some of those projects. They all sound like great ideas, but you have to figure out what are you capable of doing and how to do it. So really appreciate their support as we continue to grow what we provide. Spring sports update, softball, track, and baseball all begin this week. Softball has their scrimmage at home tonight. Track will have their first meet tomorrow night. And baseball has a scrimmage on the road on Thursday. Tennis, golf, and all our junior high sports will begin with their first events after spring break. Feeder program, only real updates we have now is working with our coaches for some spring and summer camps. So we'll have some updates on that next board meeting. Athletic schedules, all schedules have been finalized. The spring schedules can be found on the Whitko Athletics webpage through Evently. If you follow Evently, all of those updates are automatic, and spring is crazy with all the weather. So it's your #1 resource for making sure times and locations are accurate. Moving forward, Whitko will be taking 10 athletes to the Grace Sportsmanship Summit on April 19th as part of the TRC's effort to improve our leadership. I've never been to this, so looking forward to taking some of our male and female underclassmen athletes to the Grace Sportsmanship Summit. And then one last thing that I'm excited about, in partnership with Bowen Medical, Whitko will have a physical night for all of our athletes. I think this will be a great thing for our community. It really aligns with our model of providing quality, local, and affordable opportunities for our student athletes. So excited about that. I believe the tech department will be on hand to assist families with final forms and Bentley, and then Bowen Center will take care of all the medical side of it. So really going to be a great thing. Right now, we're just working to finalize a date in May, and we're hoping that this will be something very popular, very affordable. It's around $25 per athlete. If someone can't afford it, there is assistance available. So we're hoping to get a great number of our athletes. Right now, we have 231 athletes registered to final forms. We would love to get as many of those athletes there for the physical night and have all their stuff good and set to go before they even leave us for summer break. So those are all the updates I have. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you. Director of Operations, Rhonda Snavely.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. In transportation, next week we have our annual bus inspection. This is where the state police come in and inspect all of our buses to make sure that they're mechanically sound and in working order. They're very thorough in this process, and I anticipate that we will do very well with this Yay. They have registered for the 3-day class, which is part of the ELDT process, and part of the training for the CDL. So I'm really excited about that. They'll be doing some in May, the end of May. Maintenance-wise, we have Brighter Electric that are just working on installing 2 new light poles out front here to really light up that entryway. We've had some complaints that it's a little dark out there, and when I worked at this building, I don't remember it being that dark, but it is. I have one estimate from Super Seal to re-seal the parking lot here at the CA, and I'm working to get a second quote. Over spring break, Flowtech's going to be here to install a washer, dryer, and dishwasher in the little cats area to help Jimmy keep up with all of that. And this week I'll be doing interviews because we've got 2 open positions in our maintenance department that seems to be a revolving door, which I'm really hoping to get some good candidates and get those positions filled. It's real important for the buildings so the teachers can focus on what they need to focus on, that they have clean buildings that are really stocked with supplies. So wishing for some good candidates. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda. Allison Kellogg, our Director of Special Services.
Good evening. As far as grants go, all of our grants are current at the moment. However, we were made aware this past week that another grant is opening up that could possibly pay for our Edmonton program. So Tim, Chris Evans, Lynn Leininger, and I are going to be working on that this week, trying to furiously get it in because it is due on Friday. For special education, if you read the notes, I had the opportunity to go to the Indiana State House in February where I can meet with state senators. And during that time, when Barry, Abby, and I did our presentation on the branding meeting, we talked about how we were going to brag on Whitko a lot. And so that gave me an opportunity to brag on Whitko to our state representatives and the representatives for this area. And I was able to talk to them about the importance of special education funding, the ISEAL program, which is our Indiana Special Education Assisted Licensure Program. So it took the place of the emergency licensure program for Indiana. And I talked to them about how we have 3 SPED teachers that are benefiting from that program and how they're doing wonderful things in our classes. And so it kind of opened doors where they asked us they asked me about our staffing and what issues are we having with staffing. And so I talked to them about how it's fantastic that we have these programs for our teachers, but how we would benefit if we had programs for other difficult to fill positions like SLPs that we've been looking for the last 2 years, and school psychologists, and how Indiana needs to build some kind of program to provide licensure for those people that are seeking alternative licensing. So it was just a really good conversation to get them to let them know more about special ed programming and to put Whitko on the map with them a little bit. And I kind of wanted to brag on our emotional disabilities room at South Whitley with Amanda Johnson. She took over this past year. So we were having some students that were struggling a lot, but since Amanda has taken over, we've seen our students thriving. In particular, one student, there was an issue where it was brought up that they didn't have any kind of field trips to go on in that class. And instead of making them upset and instead of pouting about it, he took matters into his own hands and he planned a nature hike for his classroom, and he and Mrs. Johnson established behavior expectations that they were going to have on this nature hike, and he put kind of like a scavenger hunt together, so it was like a learning opportunity for them. And it was just really cool to see, like what Joel was talking about, him taking that student ownership and planning something for his classroom and seeing them have fun. And so in the notes that I sent to you, I gave you a little bit of picture of them on that nature hike. And we're seeing students that are creating their own behavior plans and setting expectations for themselves, filling out their own behavior sheets to send home to their parents, and they're identifying areas of improvement in their learning. And so it's just great to see those students thriving under her leadership, and I'm very thankful. And I'm thankful for my entire staff. We have staff that are just really picking up the slack with where we have people that are absent because of sicknesses and teachers that are gone on maternity leave, and they're just stepping in and filling in those gaps. And we're just seeing our students do really well under them, and so I'm so appreciative. For standardized testing, the IN testing window, IN testing is a standardized test that takes the place of SAT or iLearn for our students that are going to be exiting school with a certificate of completion instead of a graduation diploma. That is going to be opening up April 3rd, so our applied skills teacher will be implementing that test when we get back from spring break. So that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jason Klein, Director of Technology.
Good evening. The technology department is continuing its mission to assist other departments, both in the current school year and in preparation for the next. We've been working with the athletic department, as Mr. Singray told you, to bring audio equipment into our various facilities to a higher level. We've also been preparing our football and indoor facilities to allow for live streaming of events. Really looking forward to seeing that all come together, which will be soon. The student and teacher equipment for next year has started to arrive. We're getting those ready ahead of the summer. We're also connecting with various technology-related instructors throughout the corporation. We're hoping to make the education that they provide more accessible to both students and staff. And I'll have more on that next month, hopefully. Progress on migrating the majority of tech operations to our Central Tech Center is going well. Our goal is to be prepared to continue the service that we provide to all of our schools with minimum disruption, even if we don't have much space to utilize in those individual buildings. And lastly, we're also making progress on implementing branching minds for MTSS support for the upcoming school year and beyond. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, we have Jamie Pano from our Little Cats Early Learning Center.
So very exciting news. Today I found out the playground will be going in this week. Yay, yay, yay. So I'm very excited about that. Also exciting news is that we were awarded a KEYS grant to purchase games, art supplies, and snacks for our after-school care program. Rhonda touched on that we were getting a washer, dryer, and dishwasher, which is going to make a world of difference for us. We're excited about that. Our early bird enrollment for the 23-24 school year is underway. We prioritize Whitko employees and our current families. We are offering Teach scholarships to any of our staff employees. We just awarded a full scholarship today, actually, to one of our teachers. I've been working very hard at getting the food program up and running, and it will be up and running by next school year. We just found out also that 50 million grant dollars are going to be awarded to early learning centers, and they are going to be prioritizing rural districts. So those grants will be opening up in April. And my hope is, our hope is to be able to remodel that entire wing using grant funding. Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're ready for the superintendent update. Mr. Pavarnik.
I just want to thank and acknowledge Feed the Children for a donation of close to $700 in new books and supplies and food for Whitko Community Schools. And I just want to thank the team out there for all your hard work and dedication reports always show how hard you're working, what a great job you and your team and our staff are doing. Continuing this week to Wednesday, my one-on-one meeting with all the staff, in all the buildings. I finished the elementaries and then the high school this week. Then I'm leaving Wednesday afternoon to go down to Indianapolis for the NIET conference. Then I'll be finishing the high school. And next week, then roll in the Career Academy to have all that done for before spring break. So lots going on. A lot of good stuff happening in the weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Pavarnik. The next session is the public comments on the agenda items. We have not had a public comment in quite some time. We do have one tonight. So I am just going to go through the little spiel we have to give when we have public comments, just real quickly. And this is for anyone listening at home that would like to come and make a public comment, you're welcome to do so. This is the guidelines. Attendees must register their intention to participate in the public portion of the meeting upon their arrival at the meeting. Participants must be recognized by the presiding officer and will be requested to preface their comments by an announcement of their name and group affiliation. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to 3 minutes duration. The presiding officer may prohibit public comments which are frivolous, repetitive, or harassing, interrupt, warn, or terminate a person's statement when the statement is too lengthy, personally directed, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. Request any individual to leave the meeting when that person behaves in a manner that is disruptive of the orderly conduct of the meeting. Request the assistance of law enforcement officers and the removal of a disorderly person when that person's behavior interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. Call for a recess or an adjournment to another time when the lack of public decorum so interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting as to warrant such actions. And that's a mouthful. We do have a public comment tonight, so Corey Schiffer, come on down.
I'm Corey Schiffer. I'm a parent. I guess I'm here. I appreciate you guys up there putting your time in. And I know each one of you pretty well have said the reason you are on the board is to help Whitko get better and for our students to accomplish all their goals in life and get to where they need to be. So I want to say I'm proud of my son for doing what he's done and as being a good role model like that. It's always good to hear. So, and I'm also proud of our Whitko Ag and FFA. Not for sure that we don't have too much things going on that we have national recognition from this kind of stuff. So, and by that being said, you know, I'm the same way as, you know, I'm here to try making Whitko better. And I think we need to step back and kind of look at some things on how we've got a teacher that is leaving that has got us to that point. Has put a lot of time in. Most of you know that he has been a little bit been kind of wondering about things and trying to get to a point where he wants to make Whitko better, and it seems like things kind of get in the way of that, and that's kind of concerning. And what's more concerning is that we're not looking into that. We're losing some teachers. I know we've said teachers are hard to come by right now, and we've stepped our pay up to make it even with, from what I know, even with surrounding schools and everything. So we're not having teachers leave because of pay. We're having teachers leave through the school year for other reasons that we need to be figuring out. And I know they can't really come, or they're not supposed to really come to you as school board members for some odd reason with concerns or thoughts. But I don't know there's any reason why a school board member can't go and talk to them and try figuring out what we can do to make things better. Because we've got a lot of good teachers, a lot of good students at Whitko. But if we keep losing good teachers, we end up losing students too. And we can't have that. I've always said it doesn't matter what kind of building you have, as long as you got good teachers and good staff, you can pull new students in. And it's concerning to me that we are losing some of those. And I know when some speak up, they kind of get, seems like they get punished for speaking up to you school board members instead of going at them and trying to figure out why they are leaving and all that. Seems like they've kind of taken on their chest. And so I just ask you, all of you to step back and maybe start asking teachers and talking to teachers and seeing what they can do to make things better at Whitko and what you guys can do. So I appreciate that, and hope that we can get to that point, because when we got someone like our ag teacher leaving, top notch, he's got us so far, and to leave like he is, and then promise things, a greenhouse that's not completed all the way, and things like that need to be done. So it's kind of hard to be in a spot and try doing what you can to make these kids better, and not get what they need to make them better. So I just ask the police start looking at that, start taking that in consideration, asking these teachers, asking them things like that.
Your 3 minutes are up, Corey.
All right, I appreciate it. I'd love to talk to any of you.
Thank you, Corey.
Thank you, Corey.
Okay, we're going to move on to 6.0, which is our business reports and consent agenda. We have quite a list of reports and personnel issues, changes, et cetera, hirings. Do we have a motion to accept our business reports and consent agenda as presented?
I make a motion that we accept our business reports and consent agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we accept our consent agenda and our business reports as presented. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your hand. Aye. And those opposed? The motion passes. In new business, we have the Country Meadows Amish School that has requested to use a Whitko school bus and a driver for an April 6th field trip. Could I get a motion for this, please?
I move that we honor the request of the Country Meadows Amish School for use of the school bus and driver on April 6th.
I second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we honor the request of the Country Meadows Amish School for the use of a Whitko school bus and a driver for an April 6th field trip. Is there any discussion?
I'm just wondering if we've done this before. I don't remember this one.
I don't think for this school, I can't remember, but I also wondered if, this is during the week.
It's during spring break.
Okay, all right, then that's
We have done it for other.
the other church.
I don't remember if we've done it for this particular Amish school, but they have done it.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your hand. Aye. And those opposed? The motion passes. 7.2 is the approval of the annual field trips and the following one-time field trips. There's a list there that I'm not going to go through at this point in time, as you've all read them. So can I get a motion on this, please?
I move that we approve the annual field trips as presented.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the field trips as presented. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your hand. Aye. And those opposed? The motion passes. We have no old business at this time. Mr. Pavarnik, do you have any miscellaneous items?
Just a reminder to everyone in the community that after our work sessions that we hold a week or two before the board meeting, and they're all published on our website, that those go from 4 usually to 5, and I still hold my superintendent's copies after those, so I'm always there. And with the bond issue coming up, any other questions, staffing questions, I'm always there. I'm always open and transparent to the public, and I welcome everyone to come in, anybody that has any interest or any questions to come in and talk to me. I'm always sitting there waiting, lonely, for about 15 minutes. So, I mean, transparency is job one at Whitko. So I'm always there. Please come talk to me. Thank you.
All right. The last thing is just to talk about our next meetings. We have the next school board meeting, which is an executive session, April the 12th at 4 p.m. here in the TAC room. The next public school board meeting is Monday, April 17th at 6:30, right here in this lecture room. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adjourn this meeting. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you.